Welcome to the Jen Hayward Show. I'm your host, Jen Hayward. We have a very special show for you today. We have a special guest who I'm going to announce right away. Most of you are coming to see. No one's like, yes, it's Jen Hayward again every day. But we have a wonderful guest coming up. I want to tell you what an interesting day I've had for just like in 2 seconds. I had a horrible day. I had a day where I'm dealing with 2 of my teens, and I'm just like completely questioning every parenting choice I've made. I'm like, I'm the crappiest mom ever. And then the irony that I'm literally interviewing tonight Canada's original mom, and Abby Hagyard is just not lost on me. So I'm just going to bring it up, and I pardon for any delays. I had a computer, but I trusted one of my teens to bring it home, and he didn't. And so I'm using my husband's really crappy one. Welcome to the Jen Hayward Show, which is now in my life. So everyone, without further ado, bring on Abby Hagyard. Abby, everyone. Abby, this is a big deal for me to have you on my show. How are you tonight?
Well, it's an honor to be on camera with the other worst mom, really. I mean, I think we should take this show on the road because, you know, I've written the book on my side of it. You're living the book on your side of it. So I think we're a tag team.
Well, it is. I think so. I mean, and as long as there's red wine, I'm okay. Okay, so for those who are coming and watching on my personal feed, which should be no one, just so you know, you cannot go in the comments and comment so people can see. So if you want to actually interact with us, you need to go on my professional page on YouTube, The Jen Hayward Show, or on Facebook. So you've already got some people coming. You got Charles Cox, you got Robert, you've got some friends here. Someone said, and I love this, it's Hi Mama Prevert. Which, by the way, I love because it's been a while since I watched the show because I was like 2. No, it was on.
Shut up, she explained. Shut up.
I know, shut up, Hayward. It was on them, but I looked because I got a clip and I was like, I thought it was like a satire and it said Mama Pervert, but it did not. It's Mama Prevert.
No, it's pretty.
Did you guys have fun with that at all on set, or no? Because it was
all the time. No, it was. I mean, everything was. You know, the character that Les Bly played as the studio director. His name was Ross Ewage. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so raw sewage, and then you did slime on you. Wow, the puns in the 80s, and it's mind breaking. So for those who don't know, and you know. In 2021, you can pretty much do anything on television. Like I have watched some really weird stuff on television as of late. But in the 80s, literally, you can't do that on television. And it was kind of groundbreaking for many reasons. Yeah. And because it was a sketch comedy show with a plethora of young people, and then a mom, and that was you, and then some guy. He's irrelevant, but
dad,
yeah. And what's interesting is you have I've known you for a while, and I was like, yeah, Abby's going to come on the show, and then I started getting calls from people around the world, and that's when I realized, oh, you're a bigger deal. Like I didn't know how big you were, which I guess I should know that. I'm just like, it's Abby, and I had my friend who's a nun in Zambia was like, you know Abby Hagyard, and I was like. Yeah, how do you like you don't even have sex? How do you know what this is?
We're big with the nun contingent in Zambia. We're like their number one.
Well, it's just coming to TV there, right? So it's like it's sitting in real time. It's it's a really neat. So we're going to talk about, and our whole theme tonight is lessons learned. So later on throughout, you guys, if you have questions for Abby or for me, more so for Abby, let us know. We're going to talk about that. So you were on TV, you've written books, we'll get to that. But I have to get to what I think is the most cool thing about you that I didn't know is that you were not just one, but 3 of the Care Bears. So that's
right, Jen, I was.
No, that's the best.
I was Friend Bear, Jen.
You were Friend Bear. Oh my God, you were the second mom and dad to this guy. I was gonna put that up. That's so sweet. So,
Hi,
so
Charles. Hi, Charles.
that's good, I guess. If someone said,
Jen,
I was there second.
do you realize what just happened there is that Charles is in the USA. He's in the South. He's in Louisiana. You now have a follower from the down south. I mean, I think they're covered in snow right now, but see the reach of your word and your influence is now creeping.
Thank you. Well, no, I mean, but I'm telling you, I brought the nun contingency to you. Sleeping now because
you're right. You were first. You were first.
A vow of silence. But no, so you definitely have that. Okay, Charles, we've got lots. So we got lots of people to get through. So we're going to talk about that. But the Care Bear. So you were a friend bear. What other bears were you?
Well, the Care Bears was made in Ottawa. And so was The Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin at the exact same time we were doing You Can't Do That on Television. There was this huge.
You were all the bears. I mean,
I was three of the 6 original bears. So Friend Bear was a mini superhero, a little boy, very clumsy. So when he was rescuing people, he would fall off things, and he would say things like,
I'll save you. Ow, in a minute.
He was just hopeless. And then I was Wish Bear, who had this nauseating I wish kind of voice, which made me want to, But then the other one that was screamingly funny, by the way, all the animation was designed and created in Ottawa. And the third bear was Love-A-Lot Bear. And she was 2 hearts.
Yes, I know Love-A-Lot. I love Love-A-Lot. See, I knew. Yeah. I told you I had know the song, right?
So when I went to Crawley's to say, because what they did, it was so cool. No one had ever thought about this. And they did the drawings, but they developed all of the movements and the attitude and the animation based on our voices and the script. So it was one of those wonderful times where you got to invent the personality of the bear. And so the day I showed up at Crawley's for them to show me the initial sketch for her, for the friend bear is a boy. Wish Bear has a shooting star. Love-A-Lot Bear, 2 hearts. Yes, well, the Crawley artists had basically drawn Hooker Bear in a bright blue satin dress with a slit up the side and a leg garter. And I said, I'm not doing a Mae West voice. And you can't pay me enough money. It's a children's cartoon. We're not going there. But so we just had so much fun creating everything. The other thing that I did that was so cool is a Canadian cartoon series, newspaper series called For Better or For Worse.
I love that show.
Yeah. Yes. Well, so Lynn Johnson came to Ottawa and cast all the voices. And I sound like her. If I just take my voice up a little bit. So this is Abby. And this is Mom, dear. This is Mom from the show, just up a little bit. And then Ellie's voice was just a little higher than that. Well, Ellie Patterson's voice is exactly Lynn Johnson's real voice. So when they said to Lynn, there's a woman coming in, and I think you'll want to use her, then they said to me, just bring your tone up, just enough. So I walked in, and to Lynn's astonishment, I was voicing her back to herself. It was very cool. So those are the accidents that animation makes so special because you're not limited by the real body you are. You can become anything that drawing allows you to be. Teddy Ruxpin, I got my first chance to play an evil character in Teddy Ruxpin. I got to play the psychotic mom. I got to play the psychotic mom of the bad guy. And
I do that every day. Yeah.
Well, see, we, I tell you, we're in a lockstep in our careers. And
I told you I was going to happen. Sorry, guys.
That's the critic, right? That's the critic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the evil mom basically sounded like she drank Sterno, and she was psychotic. So her voice was like this. And so depending on the day, I was either being her or Friend Bear or Mom or Ellie or Morning Drive Radio.
And this was all simultaneously
all simultaneously.
That's neat. Did you ever get confused and do the wrong voice for the wrong character?
Of course, all the time. And then you see the person looking at you like you're looking at me, and the person looking at me is going,
seems a little
So
why is Mom sounding like a little tiny bear right now? Mom's gone crazy, I think, is because every mom's done that. Every kid is like, oh, mom went silent. And when mom goes silent, that's or when their voice changes where it's very calm and collected. That's more scary than when mom yells, right? So
when we did the show, and I got invited to audition for it, my girlfriend, who is brilliant acting coach, was coaching all the kids. She said, you need to come and read for this. And I said, what is it? She said, it's a children's show. And I said, I don't actually do that. And she said, they're paying a lot of money. And I said, are they paying a lot?
Yeah, exactly.
How much? And she told me, and I said, well, suffer the children. What do I have to do? But the thing is that I'd never worked with kids. Never. I had no idea what I was doing. And I think it shows, if you've watched any of the episodes, that I had no idea what I was doing. But when I got there and they gave me the show, my girlfriend, Carol, the coach, said, listen, I know you're worried about this, but who's going to see it?
Apparently, the nuns in Zambia are going to see it 20 years later. So yeah.
Your big hook before the word viral became a thing. Your big hook was that we were picked up by the U.S. Armed Forces Network. So every military base, every U.S. military base around the world provides for its personnel and families an English language channel. Well, back in the 80s, there wasn't anything else except Bugs Bunny to watch. So they ran us 7 times a day, 7 days a week, but in 53 countries. Then all those, and then all those families come home, and all those kids infect all the other kids in America. And then all of a sudden it was, here we are on Merivale Road in Ottawa. Nobody up here knows us. Yeah. But anytime the kids were flown down to the United States, they were mobbed, absolutely mobbed. 10,000 kids waiting to meet our little Ottawa boys and girls who went down to Texas to open a shopping center. 10,000 people.
That's fascinating to me because, like, as all the comments have come up, it's you're big in the States, you know, and it's. See, I was from Saskatchewan, so you know we got you. But we were still a little delayed because it was Saskatchewan. I think you were before the Littlest Hobo. Those are our two.
It's another metaphor for show business, really, little hobo. But go ahead, yes.
Just no one really wants you. They all do, but you just leave. By the way, Americans, if you haven't watched Littlest Hobo, don't. I mean, I love that movie that show. And there's been, you know, Canadians have done, well, all 5 of our TV shows have done satires on the Littlest Hobo. And,
of course.
You know, I think we have now killed the Littlest Hobo to death because it didn't stand the test of time because there were other great dog shows. But I cannot think of any other children's sketch comedy show with mom and dad that had slime in it. Like, it was just like, where did that come from? Where it's just like, okay, we're going to do the sketch. And then, someone says wet. You know, what would be funny is if we got them wet. Like, where did that come from? Was that writers or was that part of you guys?
It was the producer's idea. The producer, in his own right, had 6 children. And he got very tired very quickly of when something mysteriously got broken, and he would say, who did it? And everybody would say, I don't know. And so, I don't know, became a trigger for some kind of punishment from above. And they came up with something, the most disgusting thing they could think of.
So the kids grew up. You guys were the original Fear Factor, essentially.
Yes. And except that what never occurred to Roger was that the kids would love it. They would line up. People, oh my God, can I get slimed? And so, and I got slimed in the very latest seasons of the series because it was a technical thing. And we all, you know, working live and working in clubs, we all have to tap dance around technical issues. Mm-hmm. Knowing that they were going to slime the kids, they always bought the kids 2 sets of everything they wore. So you dump all this green glop on them, and then you wrap them in a towel and you take them out to the changing room. They change their costume. They have a shower. They put on the identical costume, do their makeup, and bring them back. I only had the 1 dress, the 1 apron, and the 1 wig. So I had no doubles. Yeah, endless gloves. So we couldn't potentially ruin the only set I had. And I know this will surprise you because it's such a fashion trend, but there aren't a lot of dresses and aprons that look like that. And I actually went into a secondhand clothing store and bought that wig off a mannequin. I mean, how much is that? And so there was just no.
Oh wait, what? That's not you. No.
So yeah, that was my net, of course. So the watering, though, if you said water, if you said H2O, you got watered, and I got watered a few times.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You get wet or you get dry. No big deal.
Water's doable. Slime.
Yeah. So the whole idea was to create a world in which long-suffering children who are infinitely smarter than the parents are frustrated by the fact that it's the parents who are in charge and should not be. So the structure was 30-second blackout sketches, set up premise, horrible miscommunication, disaster unfolding, tag, out, gone, next one. So it had a really great, I love the speed. I love the cadence of it. The poor producer who had to edit it. I mean, everything had to be so precise, but the timing of everything was so good because you didn't drag it out. And a lot of times, as you know, you'll get somebody fairly new doing stand-up who thinks that they can ace ad lib, and no, they can't, and it goes on for a lifetime. But these shows for these kids, you coach the kids to be natural. Be yourself, honey. In the craziest situation, be yourself. And then you had two professional actors, Les Lai. His style was more vaudeville, more caricature characters. Mine was, even though she was an idiot, she was more realistic. She reminded a lot of people, a lot of kids at the time, of a forgiving version of their mom. So these kids got to feel safe within those boundaries. It's like, when I saw you, the first time I met you, you were emceeing a comedy show at Montebello.
Remember that? Yes.
And
I slayed it, of course, but
and I got to watch after you said, and now, ladies, and it was for a women's audience. And you said, now, ladies, are real.
Those women, they were all women over 40, and they were raunchy.
Did they have a free martini bar or something? I don't know. But then that poor man who came up to do his act, and he made a mistake, and they ate him alive.
They did.
Oh God, yes. And then you had to come back and make everything okay. And I'm standing at the back of the room with my arms folded, thinking, "This is why I got out of stand-up comedy."
Well, and it was so funny because I remember that. It was a headliner, like he'd been in for 25 years in the business, such a professional. And it was when one, I think a 65, 70-year-old woman had to explain what fellatio was to another 65-year-old woman. He was like, I don't know what to do with this. And he was done. And I was like, this is the best thing for me ever. It was a fun night. We have lots of people who've been joining us. By the way, everyone, like it and share it with everyone. Say, because this is live. This is a chance. We have a lot of people who want to talk to you. I'm going to say, no, I'm sorry. You can't request an autograph because this is live digital. So we're going to say no to autographs, but thank you. But you can ask other questions. But Brenda Mason is here. Right? And
Brenda, what did I say? Did I just say anything really bad? Oh God!
No, all she said was, "Here, I'll put her on." She said, "That would be me," when you were telling a story, and then someone. I just think this is an interesting thing, actually, in the lessons learned. So it says someone named Chris Scott said, "My brother and I secretly watched the show because our parents thought the show was ridiculous." Yes. I'm thinking back to that time, and I'm thinking, like, you guys were taboo, and that's weird to me because now, like I said, I won't say it because maybe some people are very pure who are watching, but there's some bad stuff on the TV now, and you guys were like, and it was just silly, and I think we've lost silly. And I think, I've never had it. I won't lie to you. I've never had silly.
You've hung on to your silly. You're good. You know the thing about Brenda, since Brenda's watching now, so now I can, and she can't
editing, she says.
Give me, this is awesome. So Brenda was the person who basically was the ringmaster, keeping all those kids in line and keeping us to schedule, getting those 30-second sketches done. It was a horrific schedule to try and get through. And then periodically there would be some crazy disaster that you couldn't get back. There's just no way to get back. And I know that she was in the control room thinking, oh God, I didn't bring enough scotch. I mean, because you have to steal the time from somewhere else. The kids were and the other thing that she learned is that there's a thing called the law of diminishing returns with child actors. They don't get better the more times you do a thing. They lose that spontaneous, innocent thing. They start getting a little self-conscious. So Brenda had to manage that, plus any of the special effects stuff. Like every slime.
Well, God bless you, Brenda. That was.
Oh yeah, no, she's my hero. And then periodically, when I would make a horrific disaster, and I would in my head, I would be seeing her, thinking, why did they hire her again? Like what were they thinking? But it was everything that I'm so proud of about the show. We had a lot of children on that show. And by the way, I had 120 children. I think I've kept my figure remarkably well.
You have. I do not see much loose on the girls at all. Good for you.
So I think the thing that we are all most proud of is that, first of all, the crew was amazing and crazy. They would say, hey, we could do this. Let's do that. And it was insane. But everyone was so respectful of the kids. And everyone treated the kids like just small professionals. That's all, just small, no condescending. And we had this extraordinary record. When you think of the number of years we were on, we produced for 10 years, and the number of kids. And there are no scandals about kids being, dropped off the sides of buildings or having, life-changing meltdowns. We had a couple of kids who were...
No one's canceling you guys, right? Like it's
and even behind the scenes, I mean, we had a couple of kids who were beyond devastated when it ended, because it was like, but why? It's great. Why are we ending it? But
they grew up on the show. That's
yes.
Yeah. I think of all those things I went through at puberty, and if I had to do that on camera, right? Yeah.
Well, again, so we had this amazing coach. We had this insane genius producer, writer, Roger, and we had Brenda and her crew who just loved the concept and the construct and the process, and everybody kind of worked together and worked together.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I don't know of another show that can brag like that. And sometimes when you saw bloopers and mistakes, that one I sent you of me as the Statue of Liberty. So those kids, that was really them really reacting to me making a horrific gaffe, and you didn't see them, like we liked each other. We liked each other.
Respect. I think that, well,
Yeah.
Also we're Canadian. So I think, there's an inherent, well, no, I mean, it's, I know it had a great element of outrageousness, Brenda said. I think that's it. Like, I think that was, I don't recall seeing other things like that. Like I recall many small little Canadian shows come and go, like, the one girl from Degrassi left to be the daughter of a wrestling guy, and that didn't go far, because it's Canada, right? And it's since this, and we had some ups and downs. Then we've had Corner Gas and Schitt's Creek, but realistically, Schitt's Creek I think is the closest to come to that international acclaim that you guys have.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And don't forget that the alumni from Second City in Toronto are the stars of Schitt's Creek. I mean, so it's
all Canada, baby. Yeah.
Well, and you just you get to a point where you develop a style, you develop a signature. It's very funny. I got interviewed by somebody the other day who's doing an audio book on the show, and he asked me if I had memories of certain people I worked with. Well, of course I do. And so I said what I thought, and he said, "Do you want to hear what they thought about you?"
Ooh.
No.
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 What, is it good? Yeah.
No, I'm good. He said, "Well, this one said you were vacant. The other one said you were a blithering idiot." And I said, Yeah. Okay, good.
Why did he share that with you? That's some sensationalism journalism there, Mr. Audio Man.
And I'm on camera, and he said, "So how do you feel about that?" And I said, "Fabulous. They don't look like I do. I look great. What do they look like?"
Well, so how was it, in looking at the alumni and stuff? So one stands out the most, just that sort of made it in terms of the levels of fame, which you and I were talking about.
Yeah.
For those who we had a pre-chat, Abby and I, about what fame is and what from and expectations on people and just even in the world of social media, how Jen Hayward has her own fans, and you don't want to let them down. I mean, whatever, the two people, but and then other people have different. And then so as your show grew, how did it feel to sort of watch Alanis Morissette sort of come out of that, go to the pop star that no one remembers that she was, but I remember, my husband remembers that one song she did, and then to come out to international acclaim. So as the sort of TV mom, did you have a lot of interactions and that sort of thing? And
I could just humiliate myself and take credit for everything, and that would be so embarrassing. There were 3 or 4 kids on the show who were, and I know you've run into people like that because you work with a lot of people. There are some kids who are just very mature, and they're the way they put ideas together and intention together, and their purpose is a lot sharper and more sophisticated than the kid standing next to them, who is also 12, but not remotely out of the 11 side of 12. And this somebody like Alanis or the boy from the Statue of Liberty sketch, Justin Cammie, he went on to become a Harvard professor. And he also had a certain maturity even then in his humor, which is why when I'm falling on my nose at the doorway, he's doing the Catskills comedian drum shot to introduce my goof. He's 12, for God's sake. So
here, I want to show that clip before you tell the story, okay? I'm going to show that clip. So I know how to do this. I learned. I'm going to share the screen. That's right. I'm a technical genius here. I'm going to share the screen. It says share, and then...
Here goes all my credibility. I'm really smarter than this. Okay.
Absolutely. All right. So we're using my husband's computer. So let's assume it works and go.
Marjorie, my mom's having an identity crisis. She just doesn't want to be regarded as a housewife anymore. She wants to be admired and respected all around the world. Well, good for her.
Feminist, way to go.
I know. I just wish she'd find another way to do it. Well, see. Yes, well, sorry.
There we go. I'll unshare the screen. There we go.
So the voice of the man saying, gee, that's too bad. That was the props guy who had only made the one lamp. And now
that is too bad. Shit. Right? That's a nice way. Which I guess you're not like, shit. It's like, oh, that's too bad. On an
Brenda's saying, okay, coffee break. Dean, can you fix this? I mean,
yeah.
So so someone like Alanis, she had a lot of opportunity because she was very, very focused on the opportunity to make her voice and her ideas and her intentions known, mostly in music. And, it's interesting. There was an interview with her very recently and talking about where she is now with a new baby and the things that she's working on now. And at one point she said, one of the things I've written about in this new album is that I don't remember a day that I wasn't working. And so she was 11 or 12 or 13, but she had already been working her way through, get the music lessons, get the voice lessons, get the dance lessons, get the introduced to this, that, or the other thing. She worked for a while as a photography assistant to Paul Couvret. I mean, there's a massive set of steps she was going through. Sort of like if you go to medical school and you don't know what your specialty is going to be, but you learn all of it, and then cherry pick the one that makes you say, oh yeah, that's it. So she was a very focused grown person in a kid's body. So the conversations you have before the sketch and after the sketch, totally different. We have kids who were on the show who are now, working in technology, who are engineers and designers and architects and doing all kinds of extraordinary things. Justin, teaching Israeli studies. They had a lot more going for them than I want to be a star.
Yeah.
And good for them, because basically what they got was a nest egg in the salaries they made, because they were very well paid, but they had a vision. And so, the number of times I've been interviewed about Alanis, she was one of those people that she had something planned, just wasn't sure what it was. And sure enough, she, even talking to her now or watching her now, she's saying, oh yeah, I was always, and Alanis has a twin brother, and they would go and sing together at, the hockey games and whatnot. He's very talented, has a business, but he didn't want what she wanted as purposefully as she wanted it.
So even as a
young, yeah.
There is that, when they say that X factor or that whatever, right? And and it's, you see it in comedy, you see it in acting, you see it, like I've seen guys, I mean, I'm a comic. Am I a headlining comic? No, I also knew I wasn't going to put the work into that, and I wasn't going to live that life, because I plan to provide for my children. That was a bad choice.
When you try that and you say, because I know you, I laughed so hard about a month ago when you were saying, I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, and my pants are on fire. And the next day you said, I'm bored. I think I'd like a hobby. And I commented on your post and I said, hey, here's an idea. Why don't you do this and this and this and that? Like, I just copied your post from the day before.
Yeah, I think it was there's you and about 3 other people who keep me in check, because I'm attention deficit for sure, because I have to keep busy, and there's definite mental health reasons for that, and the things that I like to do. Now it's all focused on, and the reason, for 4 years I built my company, which is sponsored by Go For It Deliveries. And we've through ups and downs, we're definitely in a decent place now, where I said, I need to do something creative again. And so, I'm doing this show and doing the odd hosting. So I'm hosting a show, just a little shout out, Yuck Yucks, on March 10th for Harmony House. Yay. And on the 17th for an Indigenous show, and just doing, a couple months. But before we'd be, a true headlining comedian, putting everything in, is someone focused and like you said, so that Alanis, and they know, and they're out there and they can't breathe without doing it. And I've just found different ways to create. I find posting sometimes on Facebook, like that's where I'll get people, but people have seen my journey, for those who don't know, I used to weigh 400 pounds and I've gone, and I went down way like 30 pounds lower than I am now. That wasn't the healthy place to be. That's where we found out medical issues. And now I love the weight I am. I tried to do that keto. You were the first one going, there you go again, doing something dramatic. And it lasted 10 days. And then I was like, screw that. I need carbs. I do. I need carbs with my wine. You can't have one or the other. You can't just have wine and cheese. You need crackers. So that's my lesson learned, is that if you're just going to drink wine without crackers, you might as well just call yourself an alcoholic now. With crackers, you're classy.
Cheese is good, great.
Well, cheese, but you have to put the cheese on something, because when otherwise you just get a brick of cheese, right? And it's just not as classy as on a cracker. Ooh, I'm having a little cheese. Like I need to class my alcoholism up, is my point.
I like it.
Thank you. Dan Friedman has asked, and it's a good question, is there a blooper reel on YouTube at all? So they enjoyed the bloopers. And if not, Brenda Mason, get on it.
There are bloopers. Mm-hmm. Essentially, though, I look on that entire series really as a blooper experience. The great story
is its own weird,
The great. Speaking of lessons learned, people never really understood exactly how much of a waste of time it was to try to argue with Roger Price, because he's going and keeps going. So he went to Toronto to pitch the show, and the head of CTV listened to what he had to say and said, okay, well, first of all, you can't do that on television. And Roger said, yes, I can, and yes, I will, and that's what I'm going to call it. So he...
Great. I'm just like, you can't do that. That's the best way to name stuff, is you can't do, oh, yes, I will, and I'm going to call it that, brand it, put it in 53 countries, and 20 years later, I'm going to be on the Jen Hayward show.
Fluff my whatever. So that, the whole idea of, I came up with this the other day. I think that a lot of the reason that people misunderstood or undervalue the kind of work that you do, or the kind of work that an original crafter of creative stuff does, is that I think there are actually two kinds of people. There are people who go to work, and there are people who are the work.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah.
My husband goes to work. He goes and he comes home. He's like, give me my ukulele. I'm done. But I never stop. And
no, because you are the work.
That's why I need edibles, is to stop
and
the brain.
Yes. And the slippery step down the slope,
yeah,
for people who are the work, is that if you get a bad review, you take it personally because, by the way, hello, I wrote it. Hello, right. It was me there. What are you talking about? You don't like? What do you mean? What do you mean vacant? What do you mean blithering idiot? Get out, step outside.
I was mom for damn sake.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. How many people love you, you idiot? But and this actually happened a long time ago when you were starting your business, and you had a couple of very, very clever business strategists working with you. You had Judith, and you had
Angela.
Angela, yes. Yeah. And Angela has always been very clear that you have to compartmentalize your emotional connection to your business, because at a certain point in time, you have to be able to arm's length yourself and be objective and say, I need a better operations manager, or I need this. Why that is such a psychotic exercise is because you are the work. What do you mean I can't be the? I am the.
But then you can do things like in my work, and then you can apply that to your creative, where I've now grown. Okay, I've grown. Now this can go. But of course, you knew yesterday during our biggest days, I'm sitting there going, I'm kind of bored because everything's going so smoothly. I'm usually under a table crying because all these, sorry, my language, bitches are like, where's my damn flowers? And this year was so smooth that I'm like, okay, what's the next step? What challenge what can we create? And I think though that's true of show business and stuff too. So whether it's your acting, because you don't just act, I think that's what people don't always know, is that you're also a publisher. And you're a writer. And I remember when you and I tried to collaborate together, and it was just, she's like, oh, and eventually she's like, I'm out. Because for people like the love of Abby, because she saw something in me that is great, which is true. But at that time, I was hustling to save my family. It was the very beginning when I just, we lost their jobs and everything. And I was just doing, and she's like, what are you doing now? I said, I don't know. I'm trying this now. What are you doing now? I'm trying this now. And we were going to write something, but I wasn't there. Now, of course, I know exactly what my voice is and what my word and what I want to say.
Yes. And you're doing some amazing, I made a horrible mistake once. I told the truth to a theater critic. Yeah. And then, of course, she wrote it in the paper for everyone to see. And she said, define your comedy. And I said, well, essentially, it's group therapy where I get them to pay me.
That's what comedy is.
Yeah, but I didn't think she was going to write it in the paper. And so then I started getting a little more careful what I said to people. I think that the evolution of your business, and by the way, at the book time, what I was trying to say to you, and you were going too fast. It was like watching somebody running by me in back and forth directions, Yeah. And I kept saying, the first version of the book you write for yourself, to get it off your chest, that son of a so-and-so.
I've reread it and I was like, oh, it's bad. I mean, it's funny, but it's bad.
It's bad. And you're saying, oh, I get why Abby was. So I always say, write the first version and save it, because that's your version. Now, let's write the version that somebody else will pay $20 for, because they see themselves in it. So it's a bit of profiling. It's a bit of reading the audience. It's maybe getting some kind of consistent spelling. Not that I'm
grammar.
Oh well,
I had an editor. Sorry, I love you, Eric, but I had a volunteer editor. But it's true, and I think that's an interesting, because we go through these phases, right? So you've gone through phases where you're helping write for others, and then sometimes you're writing for yourself. And I think that's a nice balance too for you, because sometimes to be in the spotlight, sometimes to be behind and lifting other people up, which is a very noble, very woman thing to do. But, it's something I think a lot of people don't know, is that Abby's really like, because you're, the boa and the shoes and stuff, but you really are down to earth.
I have to tell you, I want to stop you here. Can you see that the boa is blinking? Have you noticed that the boa is flashing?
Oh, now I do that you said. I'm sure others know. No, because we decided to the further away. So bring it closer to the camera.
So the boa has LED lights in it and a battery. And I thought, I'm going to wear this in Jen's honor because she was having an Ides of February day. And I thought at some point in our conversation, she's going to go, either I'm losing my mind or her boa is flashing.
So I didn't notice. I think because we did this camera angle for those watching. Literally an hour and a half before the show, I was like, I can't, I was just having a bad day. And I was like, I can't do it. But I was like, you don't bring on, a celebrity and say, nah. I mean, I did it to Paul. And if you're watching Paul, I love you. But it's, and because we have some flashing the crowd. I like that, Chris. That's pretty funny. Now you're getting all the puns out there. Okay, so back to you though. This is we knew this is how the conversation would go. That's what we wanted, it raw and cut and just two women talking.
I have to tell you though, I have to tell you that when you said yesterday, I'm bored, and I thought I'm going live with Jen with no script and she's bored. I don't really know what to do with that. I'm sure we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We're fun. Well, no, it's true though, but that's how other people do things, is prepare and do research. I mean, I did that when I asked, but it's not my style because I just want this to be just people talking. But of course I did a little extra because, when you and I first talked, because I wanted to focus on a certain thing, but I didn't know about the Care Bears. Now, of course, I Googled it, and then it's just that interesting thing. So when you deal with people like you and I, who are sometimes larger than life, or we have our ups and downs in theater, drama, theater, all the good stuff. Yeah. I want to tell you a story. It's sometimes the people who are with us, I told you about my friend who's the nun in Zambia, and I love her, Sister Rose, and she will watch this. Is her name? Do
you know she loves my shoes? She comments on the shoes all the time. Like,
yeah,
that is one sister. I thought.
She is a great sister. She's so funny because, she was my roommate for 7 weeks.
Yes.
That alone is hilarity. The comedian. And so I was worried because I'm like, I'm going to have a nun for a roommate, and I'm a stand-up comic. And I have a book called, we already told you it sucks, but read it anyway, called Jesus Loves a Crazy Horny Feminist. It has some cute stories. Anyway, so the nun got the book and she read it. So Sister Rose read the book. And the first day she met me, she goes, you're so refreshing, Jenny. You're so refreshing. And then 2 weeks after living with me and just the way my brain works, she goes, your husband is a saint. And and so it's just like, there's people who are like, it's just, people who don't understand too, what it's like to be around creative sometimes, right? When we're unchecked. So you understand.
Jen, you're fabulous. Jen, your husband, God bless.
Awesome. Yeah. So
that's an interesting transition.
Yeah. So my question to you is, who is the people who are those people around you who help ground you into, when you're, the fame doesn't get to your head or whatever. Who are the people in your life who bring the biggest lessons to you or with you?
First of all, when I was in my 20s, I was fairly cute, and to then do that show and look fairly cute. Awful.
Well, thank you.
But then look awful every day.
Literally a Care Bear. Thank you. I caught it.
So, but then to, sort of show up and look at yourself as you're going to the studio thinking, I was kind of hoping for glamour. Oh, well, and you go in. So anytime I ever got a little pleased with myself, the universe would tap me on the bridge of the nose, and in a very public way, And I think the most grounding thing for me is that I'm a military kid. We traveled everywhere there is twice. And what I used to say when I was doing stand-up comedy is that you can recognize a military kid because we can't tell the difference between forever and 4:30. We also have no idea where our house is. We have no context, which is a scary thing because people just automatically get context. You know, that tree is next to that rock. Well, if you live in Canada and then you live in France and then you live in Germany and then you're in Spain and then you're in England and then you're in Florida and then you're in New York, there's no translation for the cultural context.
Yeah.
So not only do I not know where my house is, I have no idea what anybody else is doing and why they're doing it. Why is everybody dressed like that? Do they all not know that that looks awful on them? What are they doing? But because it would have been a clique norm in that place, in that window of time. So over time, as you go enough times and you are in enough places, I'm not anchored in the panic that everybody else is experiencing right now. I have never known what was going to happen next week. I have never known if I signed up for the school play that I wouldn't come home one day and see boxes in the living room and know that I wasn't going to be in the show.
Yeah.
So when everybody's saying, I can't wait for this to be over and us to get back to normal, newsflash, if you're stationed in Paris and then you're stationed in Wyoming, your next transfer is not Paris. It's probably Cold Lake, Alberta. You know, so you're yeah. What a lovely name for so your normal is you. And if you can't hold on to that and say, I still don't know what I'm doing, but how bad can it be? Oh, gee. You have to at least be okay with yourself, and everything else falls into place. And if it doesn't work, oh well, maybe with any luck I'll get transferred tomorrow and nobody will have heard of it the next place. You know, the thing that people used to say to me all the time, you're so lucky that all the colossal, embarrassing things you did was before everybody had a cell phone. And I would say, yeah, but most of the colossally embarrassing things I did were in public. I don't think a lot of people know this. I was invited when I was terribly glamorous and I had my first TV show before Gloves. I got invited to a very, very important gala dinner. And I went to a department store and I tried on every dress in the store until I found the dress that was going to make me look 5'11" and 30 pounds lighter. And I bought the dress and it cost 3 months rent, bought it anyway. And I swanned out of the store and I was that girl. I was fluffing, this is my good side, this is my other good side, all the way across, down the escalator, across the lobby floor, outside, stood there, looked back at my reflection in the window, and the entire back of my skirt was in my pantyhose.
Ooh, I've had that.
Yes, but I was on television at the time every week.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it was me. I was famous then, and everybody's going, there must be a camera. Like, this must be some kind of a sketch. No, just me. And so the grounding is, do you like you? Even if you're having a bad day, are you okay with you? Because if you're okay with you, then this too shall pass.
And that's why you're mom. That's the best. I mean, honestly, that's the best lessons learned there. I mean, and it's true.
Yeah.
4 years ago, I didn't like myself. Now I do. I mean, it obviously because I'm awesome. But
and that whole humble thing that you have going on.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I had to do a whole proof thing, and I'm like, well, here's all the proof that I rock. Here's the proof that some people think I suck, and I'm like, I don't like those people. So if I go, no,
never did really.
I think jealousy.
Jealousy is an ugly, ugly thing. You know, the thing that was so important. Somebody said to me once about the kid show. They said nobody ever understood how desperately all these kids all over North America needed to be and feel like they were okay just as they were. So we were the only show where the kids were ordinary. They were normal. You know, if we had a loudmouth kid, he played a loudmouth kid. If we had somebody confused, we had a confused kid. If we had a lazy kid, we had a lazy kid. And they just were encouraged to be themselves. So we were giving everybody permission to do the thing that I think kept me centered, because it is horrible. I suck at saying goodbye. Oh God. And the other thing that happens to me is that since I never know how long I have before we're moving, I'm desperate to get it all done right away. So when I see you flailing and spinning, I'm thinking, oh God, we're so alike, except that she's not leaving. Why is she doing that? It is a hard lesson to not be so hard on yourself. And you know, when people were saying, I would go in looking quite lovely, and then I would sit in the makeup chair for 40 minutes and look quite unfortunate. And then I would pass the girls who were doing the news, and they all look amazing.
Yeah.
And I look like the thing that fell off the turnip truck. But then at the end of the day, I would come back to the makeup room, take all that off, wipe all that off, and I'd look amazing again. And the news girls would come up, take all the makeup off, and they'd look quite ordinary. And I'd think, well, there you are, see.
I think, Abby, that it's that humility, and I think it's that balance of being glamorous, but also that, like you said, that grounding. I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago. Now, for Americans, by the way, when I say edibles, I do mean marijuana because it's legal here. Thank you. So it's just someone's like, but I just, you know, I have a little.
Not to brag. Not to brag.
But sometimes just to sleep. And I have some issues with my teens, have some high needs, and so whatever. And my boy was having a bad day, and so I decided it would be fun to sing to him. And I'm going to tell you why it's funny later because I'm about to sing, not this song, but I decided to sing very loudly, accentuate the positive to him.
Yes.
And I was wearing like booty shorts and my husband's oversized T-shirt. You know, I look fine, but I have a lot of loose skin because
you're a fashion icon, honey. You just have to accept it. Go with it.
Unbeknownst to me, my husband taped part of that thing, and then I told the story of how he taped it, like ha, and then he posted it under, and then I watched it and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty cute. I said,
okay, yeah.
That's what you got. And he says and I said, but I think that's it, because honestly, before that would be awful, but that's part of doing the show. So we've had a lot of lessons learned. I love leaving on the grounding because I think that's so important. But I did tell you, and this is something I have been not obsessed with because I haven't thought about it since we talked about Care Bears again, but I remember every now and then I try and search this song out and I can't find it. It's one of the Care Bear songs, and I Google Care Bear songs and I go through them all and I can't find it because like we're talking 1982 so it's I'm going to sing it for you because it's really short, and apologies to those who have sensitive ears, but
go ahead. I'm good.
Okay, it goes. I love you, and I miss you, and I love you all the time. And if you miss me, come and kiss me, because you'll always be my special Valentine. Mwah. I remember that from my youth, and I cannot find it.
Well, I'll tell you.
Do you remember it, or
no? Actually, tragically, it has escaped me. However,
it wasn't sounding exactly like that. Yes,
actually, remarkably close. I don't know which bear it was.
I thought it was a love bear, so that's why I thought.
Oh, it may have been. It may have been. So I did a fan event a little while ago, and to my everlasting horror, a girl came up with an album that she found at the bottom of an album bin, and it was all the Care Bears theme songs. And I'm looking at all the Care Bears and everything, and I looked at it and I thought, wait a minute, that looks familiar. And I turned it over to look at the back, and it was the right year. And I said, oh God. Okay, so honey, well, yeah, 3 of them
yeah.
I said, honey, I want you to do something for me. Are you planning on playing this when you get home? Yeah. Okay, so I want you to take all the good glassware and put it somewhere else, like maybe next door, and cover the windows with sheets. Just when you play my song. It's not that I can't sing, it's that I can't control what I sing. And it's very embarrassing because I can do a lot of voices. I can do a lot of accents. I can do a lot of character narration stuff. I can do so much. But then when the music plays, I'm like, I'm the dead third leg on something. And it's insulting. It's embarrassing. I should be able to be wonderful at this. So what I did, instead of the fact that I just have this mediocre voice and I can't harmonize, because as soon as, if you were singing and I was standing next to you, I would be singing you because I'm imitating. I can't not. So instead of saying I have a mediocre singing voice, which why would I ever say anything I'm doing is mediocre? What would possess me? So what I have said is that I would sing, but they've passed a bylaw, and we want to keep crowds down. because the stampeding out of the theater is just, it causes too much trouble. So I don't sing. And then, so now people really believe that I have this terrifying voice, and what I have is this terribly annoying voice. So I have sung twice, deliberately, for money, for a great deal of money.
I'm not paying, but you also, yeah.
I'll send you $1, then you pay.
I will. So, I'll get you. Yeah.
So in one of the Care Bears episodes, I had to sing. And poor Leslie had to come in on the last note of the song. And every time he had to come in on it, it made him cry because I hit the note and badly. And it was one of those, cut glass things. Then in Teddy Ruxpin, the evil woman, Eleanor Tweeg, had to sing. And again, poor Leslie is in the same studio with me, and he has to come in on it. And people were laughing. And he was saying, I need danger pay. I have to sing with Abby. And the thing is that you can either take yourself really seriously, and I don't mean not take your work seriously. I loathe people who say, we're just doing this for fun. No, if people are paying their hard-earned money to watch, we're doing it for them. And so you want to have fun, but you want to be disciplined, and you want to give a great outcome, a great intention. And, the reason, I had a kind of a low ebb day, you did, lots of people. And I thought the two of us, at the very least, are going to cause the utmost damned astonishment and snap people out of the sighing. One of the other lessons that I learned, I'm, keeping an eye on the time because I know there's a limitation. Mm-hmm. I have always believed that the single most important person in the room is the audience. Because without them, it's a rehearsal. And if you think it's all you, if you think it's all about you, you are sadly mistaken. And you may be famous now, you may have your moment, but that will fade. And people will remember that you were just annoying and precious and self-absorbed. But if you're constantly saying, I want everybody to have such a good time, they can't wait to see us again. I want them to say, we always go to Abby's shows. We always go to Jen's shows. We have no idea what it's going to be, but we always go. I think that is a legacy you can put into your kids. You can put it into your art. You can put it into your family. You can put it into your job, into your business.
Your culture. Yeah.
It's not that the customer is always right, because quite often they're an idiot. But the customer.
Well, I meant my employees. Yeah.
Yes. It's the other thing. Yeah. A long time ago, I wrote a business book called Market Centrics. And I said, it's an extraordinary thing that most businesses spend most of their time focusing on what the competition is doing. And the reason I think that's very odd is because the competition isn't the one keeping you in business. It's your customer. Why wouldn't you focus on what they want and what they need? Why wouldn't you make it clear to them that they are the most important person in the room to you, as you do? You're always saying you're the best of our stuff. The thing that matters the most to me, whether it's a book launch or it's an event or I went to Ottawa Comic Con because they had a free booth, and the guy said, "Big booth, Abby. I don't know what you're going to do with it." And I said, "Well, I'm going to upstage your event, honey." And he said, "Well, of course you are." And I did. I have a sidekick who is relentless, and we hijacked every cosplayer in the place to come and get their picture taken with me in front of the lockers wearing feather boas. I am the only person on the planet who has a photograph of Darth Vader in front of the You Can't Do That on Television lockers, and he is wearing a lime green feather boa. Because I can.
You can.
And the year after that, I told the same organizer that I was going to shut down Montreal Comic Con. And he said, "Oh, sure." And I did, because two fans got married and they wanted to have a Klingon wedding. So I got the Klingons and the Stormtroopers and the Dark Empire and the Vikings and the Doctor Who people and I don't know, a few homeless people who were wandering around. And we shut down the entire Montreal Comic Con to do a wedding march all the way through the place. 40,000 people stood still. And I contacted the organizer and I said, ta-da.
Make it well, and that's it. That's so we are unfortunately we're out of time.
Yeah.
I just wanted Matt apparently found the song that I was looking for. I can't click on it from here, but I'm gonna go look. And so one consistent from all of this I have seen in the comments is that people do love you. You know that you've brought people through, but and you know that you're a real person and that you have made it about the fans, and that's why the fans love you so much. We're going to have you back in a couple months because we didn't even touch Vikings and all the shoes and all the, like I told you, we're going to have to do a 3-part series. We're going to get deep into your childhood. But for now, unfortunately, we're out of time. I want to thank Abby so much for coming here. Of course, you can support all of her, TV shows before, but you want to check her publishing company out as well and the books that she is. AbbyHagyard.com. Is that simple?
It's called AH Publisher.
8-inch Publisher. Okay.
AH Publisher. So it's either AH or it's Publisher.
There you are. You see, that's where I should have done my research. And she's right. I'll post that after. And of course, this week we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, unless I cancel. But this Wednesday I have Biff Naked on, and Friday is my husband and I anniversary special. We're going to do lessons learned about our marriage, where the saint will be on here telling embarrassing stories while drinking beer, which is pretty much what we do. So anyway, I want to thank, not me, gross, I like wine. Thank you so much, Abby, for coming out. We'll see everyone out there. Please be kind to yourself, because I think being kind to others is sometimes easier, but also be kind to yourself, and for everyone else also floss. I'm Jen Hayward. Thank you so much, Abby.
Cheers to your anniversary.
Thank you so much. Well, come and join us at our party. I'm going to end the broadcast. You and I can keep chatting. Thank you all for supporting Abby and her.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.